Good evening and welcome to the City Council meeting of November 14th, 2023. My name is Marie Wicks and I'm the interim city clerk. The first order of business this evening will be the administration of oath as council member to council members-elect Altmann, Meadows, and Singh. Mr. Altmann, you are the first on the list. If you would kindly join me behind the microphone. If you would please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East
and
Lansing,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
of the City of East
of
Lansing
the City of East Lansing
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd invite you to sign your oath and have a
Thank you.
seat. Great. Thank you. You got it. I appreciate it. All right. Oh, one more. You can have a seat anywhere you'd like at this point. You're welcome. Next, I'd like to invite Council Member-elect Mark Meadows to take the oath. Mr. Meadows, if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of this state
that I will support the Constitution of this state
and the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the United States
reversed, and the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
and the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
of the City of East Lansing
of the City of East Lansing
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Councilmember Meadows. If you would sign your oaths.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Interim Clerk.
That's me. There's a second page as well.
Yep. You want to sign Kerry's?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You may be seated. Okay. And last but not least, I would invite Councilmember Kerry Ebersole Singh and her family to come forward. All right. Would you please raise your right hand? You can do that too, Remy. You can be a junior council member, okay? And repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
and the Charter and the Code
and the Charter and the Code
of the City of East Lansing,
of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
of the City of East Lansing
of the City of East Lansing
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You would come forward and sign the oath. I know you want the gavel, don't you?
One of these days, my dear.
One more page. Oh, sorry. No worries. Thank you very much. You may be seated with your colleagues. I will now call the meeting to order, and I will start with a roll call vote. Councilmember Altmann.
Here.
Councilmember Brookover.
Here.
Councilmember Meadows.
Here.
Councilmember Singh.
Here.
And Councilmember Watson.
Here.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to hold the election for the position of mayor. I will call for nominations from the floor for three times as required by parliamentary procedure. There's no need for a second for any of these nominations. Are there any nominations from the floor for the position of mayor?
Madam Clerk, I nominate George Brookover for mayor.
George Brookover has been nominated as mayor by Councilmember Meadows. Are there any nominations from the floor? Are there any nominations from the floor? Seeing none, I declare the nomination process closed, and I will now do a roll call vote. You can express your preference by saying yay or nay. Yes or no. Councilmember Altmann.
Aye.
Councilmember Brookover.
Yes.
Councilmember Meadows.
Yes.
Councilmember Singh.
Yes.
Councilmember Watson.
Yay.
Thank you. All yeas. I would like to invite Mayor-elect Brookover forward to take his oath of office. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East
the
Lansing,
Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully discharge,
and that I will faithfully discharge
gonna make me cry, the duties of mayor
the duties of mayor.
Of
Don't
the
do
s-
that to me.
of the City of East Lansing,
Of the City of East Lansing,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Mayor Brookover.
Thank
You would
you.
sign your oath? Congratulations. This is yours.
Okay, whether I want it or not.
Remy wants it, but you get it tonight. Okay.
We can play musical chairs some other time. Okay, the next matter on the agenda is the election of a mayor pro tem. I'll entertain nominations for mayor pro tem. As we did just now, I'll entertain nominations 3 times. Are there any nominations?
Your Honor, I would like to nominate Kerry Ebersole Singh for Mayor Pro Tem.
Kerry Ebersole Singh. Are there any other nominations? I nominate Dana Watson. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, the floor is closed. So are you going to do a roll call vote for us, please?
Mayor, I will be doing the roll call, and instead of indicating yes or no, you will indicate your preference for Mayor Pro Tem by name. Councilmember Altmann.
Singh.
Councilmember Brookover.
Dana Watson.
Councilmember Meadows.
Singh.
Councilmember Singh.
Sing.
Councilmember Watson.
Dana Watson.
With 3 votes for Singh and 2 for Watson, it appears that Councilmember Singh is our new Mayor Pro Tem.
This is just racist. deserves it more than Dana. I'll see myself out. A bunch of racist, old, white men.
Councilmember Singh, if you'd like to come forward to take your oath as Mayor Pro Tem. Okay. Please raise your right hand as you already have and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
and the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
the Charter and the Code of East Lansing.
and that I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Mayor Pro Tem
the duties of Mayor Pro Tem
of the City of East Lansing
of the City of East Lansing
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Singh.
Thank you.
If I could ask you to sign your oaths. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right.
The next thing on the agenda is a motion to approve or amend or modify the agenda. Do we have such a motion?
I would move that we adopt the agenda minus the minutes for the November 2nd, 2023 special council meeting, and I'm happy to explain that if there is a second. And with the exception of item 4.1 and item 5.2.
The entirety of 4.1. And what was the other one? I'm sorry.
5.2.
Okay. Any discussion with regard to that motion?
If I can explain why I would make that motion. There are 4 members of council who were not present at this special meeting. I would like an opportunity personally to meet with the city manager, which I'm doing tomorrow, to get a better feel for what happened there. I feel uncomfortable approving minutes where I was not involved. With regard to the regular minutes that are on here, at least 2 members of this council were present during that meeting, and we had an opportunity to review the meeting visually. We didn't have that with the special meeting. So I'm comfortable voting on that. As far as item 4.1, it really relates to item 5.2, which is the determination of council liaison positions. We haven't had an opportunity to discuss that at all. And normally we would do that at a discussion-only meeting, which is our next meeting. And we can take care of it that time, and it can be back on the agenda a little bit later. So that's my reasoning.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion passes. I think then we still have approval of the minutes
Of October
of the
17th.
regular council meeting of October 17th, 2020,
moved.
2023. Do we have a motion to approve or modify or amend those minutes?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, moved by Meadows, seconded by Watson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, the next thing we have is written communications received by the council. Those are posted online in the agenda packet and should be available to folks online. That's item 2.1. Item 2.2 is communications from the audience. Do we have any audience members that want to communicate with us, i.e. talk to us? Seeing none, is there anybody online?
We have a caller in the queue.
Okay.
Caller with a number ending in 797, you're welcome to address council. Caller, you may need to unmute your phone. Are you there?
That's it? Okay. Item 2.3 is communications from the mayor and council members. Councilmember Altmann, anything you want to impart to us tonight?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I want to, we just had an election, and I want to thank the community for welcoming me back. It was great to canvass the neighborhoods and catch up with friends I hadn't talked to in many years and make new friends. That's kind of what it felt like campaigning. And I am always appreciative and very happy when people are willing to allow their day to be interrupted by some random person showing up on their doorstep wanting to talk politics unannounced. And people are very good sports about that, and also about sharing their suggestions. And I have kept a list, and I hope we can chip away at that in the coming years. I want to thank the other candidates in the race. I thought we had a clean and thoughtful and thought-provoking campaign, and the candidates did a great job of putting their issues on the table and keeping them there across the various discussion forums that we had. And I think some of the issues they raised are going to be part of our conversation in the coming years. I want to thank my campaign consultant, Kathy Swedlow, for being my secret weapon in this campaign and in my life in general. I am looking forward to working with our terrific municipal staff. That was one of the real pleasures of being in this position previously. I think one of the most important things we can do as a council in coordination with the city manager is to make sure that our staff have the resources and the backing they need to do their jobs well and to develop into a cohesive team. And finally, I am looking forward to working with my council colleagues. I think we have a great team in place, and I think we will be able to be responsive to the call of this election, which is to govern competently and maybe be a little bit boring. Thank you.
Councilmember Meadows.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have just a few comments. Yeah, like Councilmember Altmann, I do want to thank the entire community. You know, one thing you realize when you start to go door to door in East Lansing, and I've done that a lot over my lifetime, is that East Lansing citizens are very friendly. At the door, even though you're interrupting their dinner sometimes, or maybe even woke up a baby, that's never a good thing, but you know, it is wonderful at the doors. That's how you learn what people are really thinking in this community. And the fact that we are a very educated community means that you get great advice at every door as well. So I want to thank all those who voted for me, all those who didn't. It was a wonderful experience as usual. I also want to thank and I want to acknowledge the other candidates that were in the race, because I felt that we did have a very good race, and it was great to get to know some of the other candidates, people I didn't, really hadn't had contact with previously, who I think will, at some point in the future, be back sitting at this end of the table and helping us go forward as a community. And then I would just want to comment on two things, because there's a historical symmetry tonight that has the Mayor Pro Tem and the Mayor as real individuals who are carrying forward with a lot of the history of this community. The Mayor is sitting in the seat that his father filled, which I think is fantastic. who was an expert witness in Brown versus Board of Education. Spent 4 years as mayor here during some very, very difficult times as the city moved away from really what was its racist past and went forward. And we have a lot of work still to do in this community, but I think it's a great thing. And with the Mayor Pro Tem, she's here not because of her husband, but because of her and the work that she's done and the reputation that she has within, not just within this community, but within the political community throughout the state of Michigan. And I think we're extremely lucky with this leadership team, and I'm looking forward to working over the next 4 years and moving the city continuously forward again. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ebersole Singh.
Yes, I want to start by thanking the community for trusting me with this responsibility, and I look forward to the conversations that we had throughout the campaign to be continued throughout this service. Reflecting on the campaign and getting to know the fellow candidates for that, and even as we look to build partnerships at this table, I look forward to continuing debates, challenging times to make us all better in service of our community, because that's what this is all about. And I know my father, who was here earlier, along with my mother, also instilled upon me the need. What is life all about? Life is all about making and leaving this place a little better than we found it. And I hope to do that here on behalf of East Lansing. I also want to give a shout out to, it was a short decision time frame for me to get into this race to be serving on the council today, but I got to tell you, the reason that I got over that decision hump was the women of this community. It was the women that said, you can do this. You can navigate being a mother, being a professional, and servicing your community on council. And without their support and those early words, I would not have decided to move forward. So just want to give former mayors Liz Schweitzer and Diane Gadaris, to name a couple. Shanna Draheim has also been a great sounding board early on. They say never start naming names because then you get in trouble, but I also need to give Harrison Meadows neighbors where we hail from in the community. Ray Vlassen, also a very early and important support as I took this leap of faith. So. And of course, on the long list of thank yous, it's got to be the family too. As I was meeting some of the city employees today, I am the first to always say it's my husband that keeps the trains running on time. He is amazing, and many of you have gotten to know my son, Remington Ebersole Singh, and he is the star of the show and makes us proud every day. So with that, again, I look forward to continuing to build relationships and partners with my colleagues in service to this community. So thank you.
Councilmember Watson.
Thank you, Councilmember Meadows, for that reminder that we are supposed to be an anti-racist city, and we did pass some resolutions to speak to that as well. So hopefully the current council will get some familiarity with that. I have been a resident of East Lansing since 2008. I have a bachelor's degree in communication from Michigan State University. I was a student during the Gunston Street riots. I was 2 streets up. I work in public health during the day, and I have a master's in human and social services. I have 3 children, and I co-parent. Their dad is located here in the city of East Lansing, and we've been a part of East Lansing Public Schools since my now 7th grader was in kindergarten. Around 2015, I was appointed to the Human Rights Commission, where I served a full term. And then I was also able to join the Community Development, the CDBG Development Block Grant Advisory Committee, which I did. I was a part of East Lansing's Emerging Leaders, and then I went on to be appointed to the Planning Commission. During that time, there were 2 vacancies for City Council, and I was appointed unanimously in 2020 to serve on East Lansing City Council. Then in 2021, I successfully ran my election, and I was voted in by the people. Thank you very much. I was the top vote getter. I was not the top financial getter. I have come from a different perspective, and I have different types of support. I briefly served as Mayor Pro Tem, and I would have loved to serve as Mayor Pro Tem, but respectfully for the majority that rules in this vote. And I also know that I did not reach out to each of my fellow council members to ask them to vote for me. So thank you very much. That's what I have to say.
I don't have any comments for tonight. Do we have a city manager's report?
I have a couple of comments. First of all, I'd like to extend congratulations to Councilmember Altmann, Councilmember Singh, and Councilmember Meadows on your election. I also would like to congratulate you, Mayor, and Mayor Pro Tem on your election to serve in those capacities. Thank you to all the candidates for their interest in running for City Council. It definitely provided for a healthy democracy. Thank you to the City Clerk and the City Clerk staff, election workers, other city employees that volunteered during the elections for a successful election. So congratulations on that. The second point I wanted to make is Lansing Regional Chamber held their Economic Club, the 2023 event, a celebration of regional growth. And they recognized 2 East Lansing businesses, Testeo and MSU Federal Credit Union, for their contribution to our region. So I wanted to recognize those 2 East Lansing businesses. And third, congratulations to the East Lansing varsity football team and Coach Ferraco and coaching staff on their regional championship. That's all I have, Mayor.
And their game this Saturday.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any city attorney report tonight?
I just want to welcome the new council members. I look forward to working with you. Congratulations. I have nothing else to report this evening.
Okay. The next thing on our agenda is item 3.1, a special presentation regarding the East Lansing Police Department accreditation presentation. Chief, are you carrying the ball on that, or who's doing what? Okay, thank you. Would you introduce yourself, please?
I would. My name is Robert Stevenson. I'm currently the Executive Director with the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. I'm here tonight representing the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation, and proud to be here. Mr. Mayor, thank you for hosting us, council members, city officials, and probably most importantly, the citizens of East Lansing. As I said, I'm here representing the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation. I actually spent a 37-year police career in Livonia, where I retired as chief, and then 11 years ago, I had the pleasure and honor to take over as executive director for the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. So I'm here tonight to award, or to get the award of a certificate of accreditation for the East Lansing Police Department. In the 12 years I've had the job of executive director, I've been able to go around the state, and I have seen that not all police departments are as good as other police departments. You already had an excellent police department. However, after attaining accreditation, it's even better than it was before. Accreditation is a significant professional accomplishment. Your department undertook this voluntarily. And to put it a little bit in perspective, in the state of Michigan, there's 600 police agencies. Of those 600 police agencies, about 400 of them are municipal, 83 county sheriffs, and the rest are university police, hospital police, tribal police as such. Of those 600 police agencies in Michigan, Your police department was the 59th police department to attain accreditation. To put that another way, your police department has been able to obtain what 90% of other police departments in the state have yet to attain. I hope one day we're at the 100% mark, but right now your department is a leader. Again, it's a significant professional accomplishment. I think it is no secret that law enforcement over the last few years has come under a lot of scrutiny and a lot of calls for police reform. I think it's extremely important for the citizens to recognize that of those calls for police reform that took place across the country, your police department has attained every single one of those calls for police reform. And they did this before the calls came about. They started this process several years ago. And again, it was a voluntary process that they undertook to make their police department better for you, the community, and their police department. So as I said, we don't give those out. This is awarded, it's earned, and I would like to introduce the program manager for the accreditation program, retired Chief Ron Wiles. And Ron, I'm going to turn this over to you to explain a little more about the process.
Well, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. It is certainly my pleasure to celebrate the East Lansing Police Department and their fine professional accomplishment. As Director Stevenson said, my name is Ron Wiles. I'm the Deputy Director for the Michigan Association Chiefs of Police. I'm also the Accreditation Program Director. Did my law enforcement career in Grambling Township in Genesee County, 26 years, the last 6 as the Chief of Police there. You are all somewhat familiar with accreditation. Your kids go to accredited schools. When you're sick or need medical attention, you go to an accredited medical facility. Law enforcement is really no different. Accreditation is a progressive and time-proven way to improve the performance and service of a police agency. The foundation of our program lies in the voluntary compliance of 108 best practice professional standards. The key word there is voluntary. No one is making your police agency do this. They did it for the sole reason of getting better. Getting better for themselves, getting better for you, getting better for the community that they serve. Let me kind of run you through the steps of accreditation and everything that your agency had to go through. The first step is sometimes often the most difficult step for some police agencies to do, making the decision to do it. It's one thing to say, yeah, we got a pretty good police department. But it's another thing to say, you know what, we got a good police department, but I want to make it better. And that's exactly what your agency did. They voluntarily agreed to engage in this process. And I say process because that leads us to the second step, what we call self-analysis. We give agencies 2 years to do a self-analysis of their police department. And what that entails is we have a set of 108 standards. They have their current written directives. Their current written directives have to comply with our standards. Now, it's one thing to say that they do, but it's another thing to show that they do. And we require them for each standard, all 108 standards, that they have to provide a proof that they are in compliance. Leads us to the next step, the on-site assessment. When they're ready for their assessment, after that self-analysis period of 2 years, they will contact me, and I'll get them a team of assessors to come to the police agency and do a top-to-bottom review of the agency. Now, that includes a lot of things. It includes making sure their written directives are in compliance with the standards. It ensures that your proofs are in compliance with the standards. They do a lot of interviews. Some of you they may have spoken with during the process. They reach out to the community for input, which some community members may have asked and provided input to them, whether phone call or via email. The assessors then make a decision, whether they feel they are compliant or not, and they forward that decision to me, and then I set up the fourth step, which are compliance hearings. The police agency, the chief, and the accreditation managers appear before the MELIAC commissioners, a commission of 3 people, and they ask questions of the police department to get a copy of the final report. They ask them about the department, the process, where they think they did well, where they think they can still improve going forward. Then based on that, they make a decision if they're going to grant accredited status. Well, that's quite a process there, but that is not the end of the process. When you achieve accredited status, you make a promise. You make a promise to your police department, you make a promise to the council, and you make a promise to the community that you serve. To keep that promise, in 3 years, I'm going to send another team of assessors to the police department and ensure that they are still in compliance with now 128 standards. So our program is constantly growing. We're very proud of the accomplishments of the city of East Lansing and what they've done in the police department that you have here. And with that, I'd like to introduce Chief Kyle Knight, current president of the Michigan Association Chiefs of Police, for the presentation.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to give kudos to the current council members and the previous council members for supporting this process. You allowed the funds to get into the accreditation. Not every community supports accreditation. So kudos to you and the previous council members who just served on the council for supporting that. I'm from Harbor Springs. I'm originally from St. John's, so this is a point where we're an accredited agency, and I try to recruit your accreditation manager to come to the beautiful up north. And so, Scott, could you step up here? I could possibly give him like a $20,000 signing bonus for coming north. Last week, we were up in Houghton, Michigan, and I was trying to get their accreditation manager to come down below the bridge, but he wouldn't do it. But anyways, and Chief, could you come up here, please? And every time I see your chief, it scares me because he worked in my academy and I had to do push-ups because of that man. So anyways, I'd like to read this plaque. To all who see this certificate, know that the East Lansing Police Department, having voluntarily, and Bob Stevenson talked about that, this is voluntarily. They're not forced to do it, it's all on their own. Voluntarily complied with the standards established by the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, deemed essential for the delivery of professional police services and the protection of their community, is hereby awarded the Certificate of Accreditation, effective, and they've been credited for a while now, the first day of March in the year of 2023 for a term of 3 years. This is a huge undertaking, and kudos to your department, your accreditation manager and chief for taking us on. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And first of all, congratulations on the new council being seated tonight, and looking forward to working with you. Just a couple of thank yous. I do want to thank the former Mayor Ron Bacon and former Mayor Jesse Gregg and that previous council who supported us going through this long and voluntary process. It was great work on their part for being patient with us. As Mr. Stevenson said, it is a 3-year process, a 2-year process that we started back in October of 20. And it's been a long process, but we actually got it done. I want to thank the previous council for supporting us for that. I do have to thank Lieutenant Scott Sexton, who actually was our accreditation manager. He spends pretty much a full-time job getting our accreditation up to standards. And he keeps us in line. He makes sure we cross our T's and dot our I's every single day. He's looking for proofs. He's making sure our policies are always up to standards. And when we see him come into your office, we know what he's looking for. And so it's one of these things. But we also have to give credit to the MELAC group, the commission, Mr. Wiles and his staff, to keeping Lieutenant Sexton in line, because he used their support. The chiefs of police have a great support system with the mock assessments and things like that, and they kept Scott on track. For them to keep Scott on track, he was able to keep us on track, and we were able to get it done within our time limit. So I just want to thank those and thank the community for being patient with us. We're excited about this accreditation, and we're already working on our 3-year reassessment in 3 years from now. So we know the MELAC will be back, and we'll be ready for him, as long as Scott stays with us until this. So that's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks for going through that and doing all that. The next thing on our agenda is the consent agenda as modified. Mr. City Manager, would you read off the remaining items on the consent agenda for the council, please?
I will. So 4.2 is to approve a proclamation recognizing promotion of Scott House to Brigadier General in the Michigan National Guard. 4.3 is to approve proclamation recognizing November as Family Court Awareness Month. 4.4 is to approve a contract change order with Hubble, Roth, and Clerk for the fiscal year 22 local utility improvements project in an amount of $45,000, and to authorize the city manager to sign. 4.5 is to approve an agreement for trash and recycling services with the Weather Hill Court Condominium Association and authorize the city manager to sign. 4.6 is approve a contract with Young's Environmental Cleanup, Inc. for the 2024-25 fiscal year as needed emergency spill response contractor services and authorize the city manager to sign. And 4.7 is approve a conditional Class 3 rental license for up to 2 unrelated persons or a family at 351 Oak Hill Unit 207. The owner applicant is Deerfield LLC, Olacito, Clarkston, Michigan.
Could we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Okay, moved by Altmann, seconded by Meadows. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion passes. That moves us then to the business agenda. We've had one deletion from the business agenda, which is 5.2, so we will take up item 5.1, consideration of recommendation from the East Lansing Elected Officers Compensation Commission. I assume that council members have read the materials. Does anybody wish to make a motion or not?
Well, I have a question on that. If this takes effect after 30 days after it's served on the city clerk, I don't know what that date was.
Correct. I also wanted to make sure that I recognize real quickly, if I may, Fleming Mattison, who is the chair of the Officers Compensation Commission, who put together the letter for this year. They meet every other year, so it's an unusual commission. There was a lot of thought going into the discussion and decision and what they ultimately arrived at. And I just want to share that part of that was a discussion of the fact that people who run for city council are not doing this for financial gain, but also a recognition that it can be a hardship for people, and there's an effort to make it more accessible for more people to run for and serve on the city council. And so that is the reason for the recommendation that is before you today. The determination was served upon the city clerk on November 3rd with no action or a vote of approval. That will go into effect on December 3rd. The council may take no action. If council wants to vote affirmatively, it may. Council may also oppose, but council may not in any way modify the recommendation.
All right, and so for the benefit of the public, the recommendation is that the mayor's salary, I'm missing this, the council members' salaries go up by $400 in the 2024 fiscal year, which actually starts what month?
Well, the fiscal years start in July. We're on a July to June.
Of 23.
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
so this would theoretically be retroactive, and the mayor's compensation goes up the same amount?
That's correct.
Okay.
The discussion was that by raising the compensation by a percentage would unfairly benefit the mayor because the mayor's pay is already higher. So in order to establish some equity, the decision was made to offer $400 additional compensation for each, I guess fiscal year is confusing, but each year of service for your 2 years of service. And then for the first year, and then an additional $400 for the second year for council members and the mayor.
Okay, and to summarize, the mayor's salary, if this went through, would be $10,600, and Dr. Altmann's going to have to help me with the math on the $8,670 city council person salary plus $400, which I think makes that $9,070, if my math is correct. So.
Well, that's very good math, Mr. Mayor.
Totally
I'll
amazing.
move that we approve the recommendation rather than just wait until 30 days goes by. So I will make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Is there a second? Any discussion?
I would like to just say a couple of things. One, I hope that the people of the community recognize that, this isn't a lot of money, but it does encourage people to put their name in for this position, and it's important that the public knows also that this is not just something that you put on your resume. This can be a lot of work, and it's not just the hour or the hour and a half we spend on a Tuesday night. There are board and commission meetings. There are other meetings that take place over a long period of time, and it can be very draining, especially with young children at home. So I'm fully comfortable in making a motion on this, and I hope the community appreciates that we're doing this at about 72 cents an hour. So, okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion passes 4-1. Okay. Item 5.2, approve change order number 4 for the as-needed sewer rehabilitation contract with Instaform and extend authorization from $500,000 to a total of $950,000 and authorize the city manager to sign. Is there a staffer on this, Mr. House?
Yes,
Okay,
good
thank
evening,
you.
Mayor and Council. So this is more or less a cleanup action. We awarded a contract in 2000 for $500,000 to enhance the service life of sewers through sewer lining. And there was a series of change orders that were signed by the city managers, but we did not come back to council to request the formal extension of the total authorization to expend. And during the most recent change order, we were doing some forensics and looking at that, and that's why we're coming back here to request for the formal approval to extend that total authorization to expend funds. And from that, this also preserves a threshold to perform emergency services as well. We are currently planning on rebidding this service as well because the pricing is old, subject to your questions.
Okay, thank you. Could we have a motion to have any further discussion, and then if we have questions, we can direct them to Mr. House?
Move approval.
I'm
Second.
sorry. Dr. Altmann?
Move approval.
Okay. Second from Mr. Meadows. Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Any questions for Mr. House?
I have a question, if I may.
Please.
Scott, you mentioned forensics. Do you mean accounting forensics or sewer forensics?
Well, yeah. So we were doing our own internal evaluation of where we were at. So what we're finding in DPW, we're spending a lot of money, and we're having engineers look at this, and they're looking at plans versus dollars. So we're kind of identifying a need, who's keeping track of all these moving parts, because we're spending a lot of money. We plan to continue to do so. So we're going to look at reinforcing those systems so we don't get caught off guard like this in the future.
So it's forensics on the systems?
Yes. Well, just internally what the status of the contract is, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions from Mr. House? Yes, ma'am.
And are you going to RFP before you expend any of the new funds?
So we have the ability to say if we have an emergent need, we'll be able to execute a repair under this current contract, but the RFP that will bridge us until the new RFP is negotiated and the contract is awarded.
Any further questions from Mr. House? Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next matter on the agenda is 5.4, originally numbered 5.4. Approve a contract change order with ML Chartier Excavating, Inc. for the fiscal year 2024-25 Hydrovac Water Service Contract Distribution System Material Inventory. The acronym is DSMI. In an amount not to exceed $200,000 and authorize the city manager to sign. Is there a staffer or the city manager? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Lacasse. Please tell us what you want to do.
Good evening, Council. Ron Lacasse, Deputy Director of Public Works. What you have before you tonight on this item is a change order for a hydro excavation water service contract. And what the goal of this contract is to identify water service material type serving each building in East Lansing. And to give a little bit of history, in June of 2018, the Michigan Department of Great Lakes and Energy changed the lead and copper rule as a result, in large part due to the Flint water crisis. And 3 significant changes to the revised rule where they changed the definition of a lead service line to include galvanized steel that either is or was previously connected to lead. And for those of you who sat through the presentation a year ago, when you have a galvanized steel water service line, a lot of times there's called a lead gooseneck, which is where it connects to the main, and that's where those can be problematic. The second change is that all water systems must have a detailed inventory of every water service connected to their system. The city doesn't have any historical records of those, so this contract is trying to tackle that task, and that inventory is due January 1st of 2025. And then thirdly, all galvanized and lead service pipes must be replaced at water system expense regardless of ownership. In the city of East Lansing, the ownership changes at the water service valve, which is generally out by the sidewalk. It's public out to the main, it's private to the home. The rule change means the water system has to pay for it all the way up to the meter or 18 inches inside the house, whichever is shorter. So 3 significant changes. Since we've began to tackle this inventory process, we've hydro excavated, and what that is a giant vac truck. Maybe some of you have seen it. It's got a high pressure hose on one side that they shoot into the ground, and a giant vacuum that excavates the dirt. Since we've started that process, we've excavated over 2,600 services, primarily in the older area. So we're talking south of Saginaw and west of Hagedorn. We've excavated the bulk of those services. We've identified 503 galvanized or lead service pipes. In the mid to high 90% of ours are galvanized services, not lead. And we've replaced 204 of those, leaving 299 services remaining. What this contract intends to do is finish the Bailey neighborhood where we are finding some lead and galvanized service lines. We've done the bulk of it, but we got some sections to finish kind of behind City Hall and then over by Hagedorn. So this change order is to finish that neighborhood so we can complete that inventory. And with that, I'm available for any questions you might have.
Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
What is the timeline of the Bailey neighborhood work?
We're in there right now,
Yeah.
hydro excavating, and we like to keep them going through the end of this month. So right now, they're working up towards Abbott, so they're working to the west right now. I think they're 2 or 3 blocks to the east right now, and then if they have time, they'll jump over and finish the last couple blocks towards Hagedorn. So we're hoping to finish up by the end of this month before the cold weather sets in.
Okay. Can we have a motion to engender any further
I move.
discussion? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I move
Okay,
forward.
moved by Ebersole Singh. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Altmann. Any further discussion or questions?
I have a question, Mayor.
Go ahead, please.
So you mentioned that updating the services is at the water utility expense, right? Is the hydro excavating, is that at taxpayer expense or city expense?
It's ratepayers, it's water and sewer rates. We did, of the 365,000 that was approved, 285,000 or so was actually through a drinking water grant. That was just, so we expended those funds plus an additional 80 or so $1,000 of water and sewer funds, and we're looking to, the 200,000 will come from water and sewer funds again. So ratepayers basically pay that cost.
Did we ever get money from, it was the state who changed the lead and copper rule. Did we ever get money from the state for any of this?
There has been no funding allocated to it, except for, there is some communities receiving low interest loans for it, but not just straight funding.
So it's an unfunded mandate?
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Lacasse? Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion passes 5-0. There be no further business in front of the council. Could we have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Altmann, seconded by Meadows. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thanks for coming, folks.